Welcome to this amazing video in which I'm going to discuss some important interview questions which are commonly faced by the people who are looking for the position of business analyst. These questions will help you, the freshers and as well as experienced candidates.
सब्सक्राइब कीजिए सुनील टाइम्स गुरुजी चैनल को और बेल आइकन को दबाइए लेटेस्ट एजुकेशनल वीडियोस सबसे पहले देखने के लिए।
Let's continue. Can you elaborate on a use case model? It is the interaction between any user and the system. It projects the navigation route that the user is most likely to follow. What is understood by alternate flow in use case? Any action that the user takes which does not follow the basic route, then it is called an alternate flow. What is the best way of using an activity diagram? It successfully captures and represents visually the flow of user in a system. The best way of using it is at conceptualization stages. Which are the types of diagram you are most and why? Various types of diagrams are used. Some of my favorite ones are activity diagrams, data flow diagram, use case diagram, class diagram, sequence diagram, and a collaboration diagram. I personally like to merge diagrams to have a more coherent approach. I have found the most effective diagrams to be product roadmaps, feature mind maps, and process flow diagrams. I am also well versed with other forms of diagrams such as class diagrams, sequence diagrams, and of course activity diagrams. What is a persona? In the place of real users, personas are used to create and understand behavioral patterns that real users will be undertaking. What does OLTP stand for? What is its use? OLTP or online transaction processing helps in data entry and processing for the purpose of data management and interpretation into the database. What is SaaS? SaaS stands for Software as a Service. Since it is based on a cloud, a web browser is required to use the software. A very popular example is an online email service like Gmail. Enlist the documents you use the most and why. I personally use documents such as functional specification document, technical specification document, business requirement document, use case diagram, requirement traceability matrix, etc. My favorite is the functional specification document as it helps in the designing process as well as for testing and coding. For documentation, I regularly use documents such as user stories, use case diagrams, requirement traceability matrix. I start off with a project vision documentation and follow a logical pathway documenting each step through case stories, requirement document and matrix, ultimately leading to test case. What do you understand by invest? Invest or independent negotiable valuable, estimable, sized appropriately, testable, comprises the elements of the entire process which guarantees a highly quality product. Which one do you prefer more, a waterfall model or a spiral model? Depending on the culture of an organizational life cycle, model for a product such as a waterfall or a spiral can be rightly ascertained. Brief us on your understanding of BPMN. Business process model and notation is used for illustrating the business process in a model and to help arrive at graphical notations. It helps in controlling sequence and also interactive flows. What is the use of Pareto Analysis? Pareto Analysis enables a business analyst in effectively putting 20% of work to arrive at 80% project completion. It is considered to be a very effective decision-making tool. It helps prioritize tasks in order to get maximum benefits. Define Agile Manifesto. Agile Manifesto is the ultimate guideline for developing better software. It has 4 key elements such that individual and interactions should get priority over the process and tools. Working software should be given due importance over detailed documentation. It also emphasizes on the need for required change rather following a plan. What are the key features of gap analysis? Gap analysis is used to address differences that are noticed in the performances between business information system and actual performance in terms of metrics. A gap analysis identifies the problems and is directed towards a plan to rectify the issues. What is the importance of FMEA? Failure modes and effects. Analysis provides detailed possible failure scenarios at every step. When would you use PUG matrix? It is a decision-making method that helps in evaluation of advantages and disadvantages against a reference system. Which are the tools you use the most? I prefer the following tools the most: ERP systems, rational tools, MS Visio, MS Word, MS Excel, PowerPoint, MS Project. Possible answer 2. On a daily basis while functioning as a business analyst, I find myself using tools such as MS Word, Google Drive, Star UML, ERP systems, rational tools the most. Why is benchmarking required? It is required to set standards for a company. It helps match policies with performance. It is required to set standards for a company. It helps match policies with performance. What are the features of a good requirement? A requirement is believed to be good when it is smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Do you have any strategy to address difficult stakeholders? Once a difficult stakeholder is identified, I personally take into account their motivation for resistance. I would try to discuss their concern as promptly as possible. I never take any difficult stakeholder problem personally. Rather, I just try to do my best to resolve the issue. I have already had several encounters with difficult stakeholders in the past 7 years of working as a business analyst. While most of the time I have handled the stakeholders in question tactfully without any help from higher authorities, there had been times when certain stakeholders would stay adamant. In such situations, I have escalated the issue and taken necessary help. I believe matters with stakeholders, especially primary stakeholders, should be urgently resolved at any cost. What are the key elements that fulfill requirements? As a business analyst, I very well understand the need to fulfill requirements as it is our key responsibility. We have to see into the presence of adequate resources and fulfillments of business goals that are the pillars to meet requirements. Additionally, though it may mean going beyond the requirements, the agreement of stakeholders is extremely beneficial to the overall project. Can you elucidate the difference between the V model and fish model? Fish model, unlike the V model, cannot take into account uncertainties and requirements. It is also more time consuming and expensive. Explain the steps that turn an idea into a product. The steps include market analysis, competitor analysis, SWOT analysis, personas, strategic vision and feature set, prioritize features, use cases, SDLC, storyboards, test cases, monitoring, scalability. The role of personas and feature prioritization is extremely crucial. What is understood by application usability? If the interaction between a user and a system is seamless, it is said to have good application usability. It is the sum total of navigation experience of a user. Define a database transaction. Any change within the database is called a database transaction. It can be in the form of addition, deletion, modification, searching, to name a few. Elaborate on the use of 8 Omega in a business framework. It works for the betterment of a business framework. It mainly takes into account strategy, people, process, and technology. Can you explain the meaning of a square? Square or security quality requirements engineering helps to document system security requirements. When do you use pair choice technique? This is a prioritization technique. Its main aim is to identify the most important items in a process. It is usually determined by the key stakeholders. A comparative analysis helps to analyze different metrics to assign significance. Are you familiar with the difference between pool and swim lane? In an activity diagram, pool denotes a single person engrossed in one activity. However, swim lane means activities among groups. Can you explain the difference between a risk and an issue? The risk is potential threat while the issue is the real danger, which has already taken place and is a setback. For instance, when a strike is called by workers during the last days to finish a product, it will be considered an issue. If there is just a warning for the strike, then it would be considered a threat or risk. What do you understand by requirement elicitation? Requirement elicitation collects information from users as well as stakeholders in order to understand what they want from a system. It is comprised of strategies that directly collaborate with the users or customers. The customer behavior is closely monitored, and sometimes prototypes are built and run through different scenarios. How do you manage a scope creep? It is the best way to avoid scope creep through constant and vigilant project management. In case of a scope creep or deviation, steps should be taken to arrest the development of scope creeps to cut down on further damages. It can be done by following a proper protocol or documentation. What is BCG matrix? Boston Consulting Group matrix helps plan long-term strategies with the help of two-dimensional analysis of market growth and share. When do you need to use the Kano analysis? In order to understand the impact of customer satisfaction, a Kano analysis must be used. It consists of 5 requirements: an attractive requirement, for example a supermarket that does not charge for the shopping bags; performance requirement, for example a stationery shop that has all the social supplies, school supplies which are affordable as well; an obligatory requirement, for example a pharmacy that does not store expired medicines; indifferent requirement, for example a customer would not care for the brand of wiring that a garment shop uses; reverse requirements, for example for an online purchase of an affordable blender which needs to be pre-ordered. So my dear friend, these were the questions which I could get for you through this video. I hope you would have enjoyed these questions, learn more. Subscribe, share, like, click on bell button. Thanks for watching.